Hey guys, welcome to Shama TV. We're shooting from the Dallas Digital Summit today. We're bringing you lots of guests, lots of good juicy information on marketing and business overall. My guest right now is Quinn Whissen, who spoke earlier on content marketing at the summit, and she is also marketing manager at Vertical Measure. So Quinn, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Content marketing, one of my favorite topics, as I know is yours as well.
Yes.
So, the big question that we hear, that I'm sure you hear, I'd be very interested in your perspective of time. Content marketing is huge. How do I scale this? How do we make time as an organization to really tackle content marketing?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because content marketing is so involved and comprehensive, and it has so many things that you have to think about. And I have a couple of answers when people say, I just don't have time, or what do I do? Mm-hmm. One's a little bit more snarky. And then
let's go with the snarky one.
Well, I'll give you both.
Okay, our audience appreciates a little snark.
Okay, perfect. So the first one is everyone has a lack of time, right? But really what that means is there's really a lack of priorities. So that's kind of the snarky answer is you don't have a lack of time, you have a lack of priorities.
Great tweetable.
Right. So people love this in the workshops because it's true. I mean, if you can figure out what your priority is in content marketing and understand that it works because we've seen it time and time again that content marketing does work, well, then you actually need to shift your priorities. And when you shift your priorities, you can find time. Now, that's easier said than done. So the more helpful answer is really starting off with a strategy and thinking through exactly what it is you're going for, what are your goals, both for your business and for the content. And then figure out, okay, well, how many ideas can I create pretty quickly so that when it comes time to create content and I can carve out time for myself, I have an idea I can just pick out of my back pocket and go with.
So that leads us to the next question, right? Ideas. People say they're a dime a dozen, but it seems like for content marketers, it's a constant struggle to say, what do we come up with? Where do you keep coming up with good content? So would love some of your ideas for when people say I'm drawing a blank and how to have how do you get ideas for content marketing? Yeah,
well, I mean, I think every day you can make every moment a content opportunity. I mean, the fact that we're meeting here is a content opportunity for me and for you. But I think, you've got to really research and you need to think, what are people looking for and how can I be the best answer on someone's search, on the end of someone's search?
Right.
So you really need to actually look and research. So a couple of things I always suggest is actually go to Google, it's your best friend, and start typing in things. And we already know that there's going to be suggestions that naturally pop down, trying to predict what they think we're looking for. So if I'm looking for, content marketing, and then I start typing something else, it might fill in template, checklist, it might fill in how to do it. So you'll start to get suggestions right there that are based on what people are already searching for. So you can start to get ideas that are, well honed and based on data about what people are looking for. So you can do it just on your daily basis, going to Google and researching, and then also scrolling down and seeing what the related searches are, because these are based on, real people searches, and you can get ideas pretty quickly that way.
So writing for your audience, and then another thing I'm a big fan of, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts, is a swipe file. I keep this is kind of like an oldies term, but I keep a file of things, of ideas that come to me, and I jot them down, and whether it's Evernote or Google Drive or Keep, whatever you use. And I find that that's real helpful because it's always in that moment when you need it and you're like blank. And then when you don't need it, you have all these ideas that keep flowing. So do you think that's a good strategy for people to keep a file of ideas, whether you need them now or for the future, just to keep that built?
And whatever you want to call idea bank, swipe file, whatever it is, I think that's almost an element of being a creative person, and especially being in the content field, is that you need to always be looking out for ideas. It can be a content opportunity in the most random of places. I know I went to Chipotle recently, and I had some guacamole, and I was like, this is really good. And then it kind of inspired this idea because Chipotle had released their actual recipe for their guacamole. And I was like, that's a great piece of content marketing on their part to release one of their secret sauce ideas. So I decided, okay, well, what can guacamole teach us about content marketing?
I like that.
So I think it's just always looking for those random experiences in your day, or maybe not so random, maybe it's a brainstorming meeting, and always capturing all these little snippets into a file, swipe file, idea bank. And then, like you said, when it comes down to it, you don't have to sit there and struggle to come up with an idea. You already have it ready to go. So all you need to do then is write it, create it, promote it, and go from there.
So Quinn, you mentioned something really important, right? So create it and then promote it.
Yes.
So big part of content marketing is distribution.
Yes.
I mean, if a tree falls in the forest and if did anybody hear it? So it's kind of like, if you publish an article and no one reads it, did you actually publish it?
Did you actually create it?
Did it actually happen? So I'm curious in terms of, do you have distribution tips for people spend so much time and effort creating content? Any ideas for how to increase distribution or views and making sure that people actually read and engage?
Yeah, well, I actually would separate them. So I'd say promotion and distribution are almost two different things.
Okay.
So I would say promotion is really about promoting your content to get people back to your own website or your own material. But then distribution would be having your content live outside of your own platform or website on, say, a YouTube or Vimeo. So you're gathering a new audience that way, rather than pushing people to your existing platform. So I would look at them both in that way.
Got it.
But I think, especially with promotion, you really need to put some money behind it nowadays. Facebook is public now. They actually have to, report back to their investors saying they're making a profit.
Right.
So they are having to fine-tune their paid advertising platform. But you can, as a content marketer, really get a lot out of maybe putting $10, $50, $100 behind a piece of content and get the momentum rolling, because it's a little bit harder to gain a foothold with organic social promotion now. So I totally recommend putting money behind it. And then also with the distribution side is figure out, where your content and where your audience is hanging out online. So you can figure out where to publish that content and get a new kind of audience coming into you.
So with content marketing really sort of being the organic, but also the advertising and, how the two play together.
Absolutely. I think it's a really holistic process, and it has to be dynamically happening at all times. So you should be strategizing all the time. You should be coming up with new ideas all the time, but always promoting and also measuring everything all at once so that you know what your next effort could be and you're actually putting a good investment of time into it.
Each thing parlays into the next, and that's how you
it's a dynamic process,
Love it. Thank you so much, Quinn.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for being with us. Guys, tune in, subscribe so you can catch all our awesome marketing and business content.